streaming and Skype. Still, the live streaming is not available via Facebook. Sutras of Vigyan Bhairav Tantra question answer session. Opening to a master and opening up in sex. The question is there any connection between opening up to a master, and opening up in sex? It happens that the mind is always anxious to receive the message of the master, yet towards the end the mind begins to resist and gets tired. Certainly there is a connection between surrender and sex. You have to understand this. Sex is the first surrender. It is biological surrender. There is a difference between biological surrender and surrender to a master is of a totally different quality. There is certainly a connection between surrender and sex. Sex is the first surrender, although it is biological in nature, which you can experience very easily. The biological surrender you can experience very easily. What does this mean? It means to be open up, unafraid, vulnerable. It means allowing the other to enter you. Biologically, naturally, sex is the basic experience where without any effort you allow someone to enter you or someone to be so deeply close to you that you are not armored against him. There is no resistance, no holding back, but you are flowing, relaxed, unafraid, not thinking of future, not thinking of any result or consequence, but just being in the moment. Even if death occurs, you will accept it. This is the nature of the biological surrender, which is nothing else but sex. Biologically, naturally, sex is the basic experience, the first surrender, where without any effort you allow someone to enter you or someone to be so deeply close to you that there is no armor against that person, no resistance, no holding back, just you are flowing, relaxed, unafraid, no thought of the future, of result or consequence. You are available in the moment. Even if death occurs, it is accepted. In deep love, lovers have always felt that this is the right moment to die. And if death occurs, then even death can be welcomed in this moment. They are open, even for death. They are open to one another. And even for death they are open. If you are open for life, that is the part of the surrender, you will be open for death as well. If you are closed for life, you will be closed for death as well. Those who are afraid of death are basically afraid of life as well. They have not lived. And that is why they are afraid of death. And the fear is natural. If you have not lived at all, you are bound to be afraid. Afraid of death. Because death will deprive you of the opportunity to live, and you have not lived as yet. So if death comes, then when will you get the opportunity to live? One who has lived deeply is not afraid of death. He is fulfilled. And if death comes, he can welcome it, accept it. Now whatsoever life can give, life has already given. Whatsoever can be known in life, he has known it. Now he can move into death easily. He would like to move into death so that he can know something of the unknown, something new in sex, in love. Fear disappears. You are fearless. You are not fighting for something in future. This very moment is paradise. This very moment is eternal. That is why I do not necessarily mean that you have experienced it through sex. If you are afraid, resisting, then in sex you can have a biological release, a sexual release, but you will not attain to ecstasy that Tantra talks about. If you are afraid, resisting, not flowing, then in sex you can have a biological release or a sexual release, but you will not attain to ecstasy that Tantra speaks about. William Reich says, you have not known sex at all unless in sex you attain to deep orgasm, the moment of ecstasy. It is not only a release of sex energy, your whole body must become relaxed. Then the sex experience is not localized at the sex center alone. Instead, it spreads to the entire body, each cell of your body. Every cell of your body is bathed in it, and you have a peak in which you are not a body. If you cannot attain a peak in sex, a peak in which you are not the body, you have not yet known sex at all. That is why William Reich says a very paradoxical thing. He says sex is spiritual. It is paradoxical, which a lot of people may not agree. But this is what Tantra says. And the meaning is that in deep sex, you are no more body at all. You will become just a spirit that is hovering. Your body will be left behind. You will have forgotten it completely. It will be no more. You will not be the part of the material world. You will have become immaterial. Only then there is orgasm. That is why Tantra says, Coles does not use the word sex, it says sam bhog. Sam means equal, bhog. The two are enjoying it simultaneously. There comes a total relaxation, a feeling that now you are fulfilled, a feeling that there is no need to desire anything. Unless this feeling happens to you in sex, this feeling of desirelessness, you have not known sex at all. You may have produced children, that is easy and a different thing. Only man can achieve this spirituality in sex. Otherwise, sex is just animal instinct. But when teachers, monks, so-called religious people condemn sex, you nod your head. You agree with it. When Tantra says something, it is difficult to believe in it because whatsoever Tantra says is not your experience. That is why Tantra could not become a universal message as yet. But the future is good. Because the more man will become wise and understanding, the more Tantra will be felt and surrendered. Only within the last 100 years, psychology laid the foundation for a world in which will be tantric. But you nod your head with someone who is condemning sex because you also have the same experience. You know that nothing happens in it at all. And after sex, there is depression. That is why there is so much condemnation of sex. Every time you move into it, there is depression. And then you repent of going into it. Tantra, William Reich, Sigmund Freud, and others who know agree absolutely that if you achieve an orgasm in sex, the glow will last for hours. Afterwards, and you will feel absolutely different, without any worries, without any tensions. Euphoria will result. They say ecstasy will be there, and that ecstasy happens only when there is a real let go. When you are not holding yourself back, you are not fighting, you are just moving with life energy. Life energy has two layers, and it is important as well as good to understand this. I was talking about breath, and I told you that breath was something like a link between your voluntary system and your non-voluntary system. In your body, the major part is non-voluntary. Blood circulates and you are not asked to do anything. You cannot do anything. It just goes on circulating. Only during these 300 years could man know that blood really circulates. Before that, it was thought that blood just filled the body, not that it was circulating, because you cannot feel anything about the circulation of the blood in your body. It goes on working without you, without your knowledge. It is totally non-voluntary. It is important to understand these things. You eat food. After you have finished eating, the body starts its work. Beyond your mouth, up to the mouth, as far as food is concerned, you are needed. Beyond the mouth, you are not needed. The moment food goes beyond your mouth, the body takes over. The non-voluntary system goes on working on it. And it is good that it works that way. If it were left to you, you would create a mess out of it. It is such a great work that if you had to do it, you would not be able to do anything else. You have taken a cup of tea, you have taken something else. It would be enough to keep you engaged the whole day to digest the cup of tea, to work it out, to transform it into blood. And the work is so much. Body works non-voluntary, and there are few things that you can do voluntarily. I can move my hand, but I cannot move the blood that moves in the hand. I cannot do anything directly with the bones that moves in the hands. I cannot do anything with the system that works. I can move my hand, I can move my body, but I cannot do whatsoever goes on within it. I cannot interfere in this non-voluntary movement of the system. I can jump, I can run, I can sit, I can lie down, but inside I cannot do anything. Just on the surface I am allowed freedom. Sex is a very mysterious phenomenon. I say mysterious. You start it, but a moment comes when you are no more. Sex is started as a voluntary action, voluntary thing. Then there is a limit to the voluntariness. If you cross your limit, you cannot come back. If you do not cross the limit, you can come back. So sex is both voluntary and non-voluntary. There is a limit up to which your mind will be needed. But if you do not lose your mind, your head, your reason, your consciousness, your religion, your philosophy, your way of life, if you do not lose mind, then the boundary will not be crossed, and you will be experiencing sex in the voluntary realm. And that is what is happening. Then after sex, every act you feel depressed, and you will be thinking of renouncing life and taking a vow against sex. Of course, these vows will not go on for long. Within 24 hours, you will be ready once again to move into sex. But it becomes a repetition, and the whole thing seems futile. You accumulate energy, then you throw it, and nothing results out of it. No transformation takes place. And this is a long boredom, a drab thing. That is why monks, teachers, and religious preceptors who are against sex appeal to you. They are talking about something which you can understand, which is your experience. But you have not known the non-voluntary aspect of sex, the deepest biological dimension. You have not touched it. You have always come back from the limit because the limit creates fear. Beyond that limit, ego vanishes. Beyond that limit, you will not be. The sex energy will take hold of you. It will possess you. Then you will be doing something over which you have no control. Unless you can move to this uncontrolled phenomena, you cannot achieve orgasm. And once you know this uncontrollable life energy, you are no more in it. You have become just a wave in a great ocean, and things are just happening. You are not forcing them to happen, they are just happening. I'll keep it up to here and continue in tomorrow's session. Until then, take care and do have a pleasant day.